Okay, welcome to Stone Soup Poetry. Round of applause for all of you. Silent applause, emoji applause, whatever you'd like. Our feature tonight, I love when we get a good turnout. Note to self, always feature a former publisher and poet laureate of their hometown. We have for our feature tonight the esteemed Gloria Mindock, who I have to say has not stopped since this pandemic started. She was among the first of us to be online. She was amongst the first of us to, she was the first amongst us to start inviting people when Savannah Barbara Press celebrated its 15th year anniversary. Good God. Last year, I was honored to be read by, to be one of the readers, as I was honored to be one of the earlier published by her. Check out the Savannah Barbara Press website. I'm sure there'll be a link to it in the chat. And she is also the author of a brand new collection of poetry, Ash. Definitely look for connections to that to help support the poet. And of course, the poet is welcome to share any Venmo, Cash App, or PayPal information as well, so we can just donate and help support the poet. I appreciate the support that has been given to the last couple of poets who have graced our on virtual open mic, most recently Laura Kiesel. I'm in the habit now of posting a more regular links, been getting used to that. So that's basically our Pass the Hat feature. It is optional, but highly encouraged and greatly appreciated. So without further ado, we're going to get to the open mic tonight, just to get a sampling. And for all the people new to us, welcome. We hope we know this is going to be worth the wait, and we hope you enjoy the open mic. We're going to start with New York-based poet, newly published novelist, and poet editor and publisher herself. The Brownstone Poets Anthology is slowly at a noble glacier pace, as we poets in the publishing world like to call it. Let's welcome up Patricia Kerrigan.
Thank you, Chad. Speaking of the devil, I was working on a layout today because now I have my computer and I'm working from my computer now.
Nice.
What a relief. Okay, I'm going to read a poem, Paved Paradise, inspired by Joni Mitchell's Big Yellow Taxi. This habitat, once protected by stately oaks and birches, wild flowers and blueberry bushes, was sold to developers. They put up signs, cleared every iota of flora and fauna, called it paradise. Land for condominiums, parking lots, roadways, and shopping centers. For car clutter, loud music, smartphone chatter, and fast food trash. For tiny potted plants and a few sickly sticks called trees. A songbird with a crushed throat lay by a discarded French fry box. I held its body, felt human torpor burn in my palm. You want me to read another one? A short one?
Well, that was a short one. So if you want to do one more, go ahead.
Yeah, very short, yeah. Eyes take inventories of streets. Some have more cracks than others. Most are dirtier than ever. Eyes visualize Instagram photos, gum, beer bottles, paper, plastic cups, and takeout containers, human or animal excrement, blood, crack vials, and now masks. Eyes see streets as museums, watch trash receptacles belch from overloads created by unknown artists. Eyes absorb disgust. Streets say more than we think, tell us who we are. Eyes 6 feet away find rainbows in puddles. Eyes wanting to see other eyes. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Patricia. Yeah, masks are the newfound art. As anyone can see in any of the photos for Oddball Magazine, over the last few months. And I know another artist, Wes Hazard, is planning to do something with all his photographs of masks that he's been taking almost since the pandemic started. That was great. Who are we gonna go to next? Yes, the man I call our orator extraordinaire, You've seen him. Oh, if you've been to poetry readings in the last couple of decades, you probably saw him at the Cantab. You probably saw him at Stone Soup. He can recite Billie Holiday. He can recite Shakespeare. I hope someday he recites the entire works, collaborative works of Will I Am and Brittany Bitch. But tonight, let's see what he has in store. He actually got that reference. I do Black Eyed Peas references all the time. I get nothing, but the Britney reference, free hashtag free Britney, he got. I salute you, John. Let's welcome up John Sturm.
Thank you, Chad. A couple of Emily Dickinson's and a comment from E. Cummings. Because I could not stop for death, he kindly stopped for me. The carriage held but just ourselves and immortality. We slowly drove, he knew no haste, and I had put away my labor and my leisure too for his civility. We passed the school where children strove at recess in the ring. We passed the fields of gazing grain. We passed the setting sun, or rather, he passed us. The dews grew shivering and chill, for only gossamer my gown, my tippet only tulle. We paused before a house that seemed a swelling of the ground. The roof was scarcely visible, the cornice in the ground. Since then, 'tis centuries and yet, feels shorter than the day I first surmised the horses' heads were toward eternity. The heart asks pleasure first, and then excuse from pain, and then those little anodynes that deaden suffering, and then to go to sleep, and then if it should be, the will of its inquisitor, the liberty to die. This is a slight change on a comment by E. Cummings. As rooms are separated by their doors, so are our lives. Yes, like those rooms, the first one is our present life. The second is our life to come, our better life in heaven. The separating doors are death and resurrection.
Thank you very much, John.
Thank you,
I
Chad.
appreciate. I don't have my Emily books on hand now, so it's good to hear it here somehow. Because I could not stop for books, John kindly read for me. That was great. Let's welcome up. I don't know why I'm on point tonight, but all right, let's go to our next man on the open mic, and he's been a traveling correspondent too, out in the Midwest, or maybe a little further than Midwest. He is out there. He is traveling in the country, and he's been able to correspond with us a couple of times. Let's get him while the connection is good. Let's welcome up travel guide Bill Lewis.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. Can you actually hear me?
Yes.
Okay, so obviously I am not in Cambridge. I am out here in Idaho because I have, by weird circumstances, ended up owning a farm. And therefore, there's one thing I just had to do. So there are chickens. And if you look at the chicken, then you go, "Bark, bark, 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 bark." Here comes all the chickens. Look at these dinosaurs. Bark, 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 bark. Bark, 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 bark. They eat anything. So I'm just showing off my chickens. I mean, I don't own chickens. Chickens own to them. They'll chase the apple. Rock. Well, anyway, I'm sure that you wanted to know that, and that your life is more fulfilled for a chicken fest. Speaking of chicken fest, la 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 la. Garbage disposal to the world Thy name art chicken. Blessed above all other beasts, you eat anything, everything, you not stop eating. O chicken, how I admire your incessant consumption, your all-consuming hunger, just to eat and eat and eat. Is there a taste difference between bug and berry? You eat them all with equal relish. Food waste? What is that? Food that goes uneaten by us today will be recycled into bacon and eggs tomorrow. Cordon bleu, Campbell's soup, Colonel Sanders, Popeyes. Oh, chicken, most noble and delicious of fowl, how I adore thee, how I salute thee for thy gentleness. And what the hell? You crapped on the porch again. Off the porch, off, shoo, shoo. Geez, Louise, chicken poop everywhere. You could be dinner, you know that. Damn dinosaurs, all this plucking, pecking roosters at 5 a.m. Why do I have chickens? There we go.
Thank you very
And
much.
I have a second poem, for
Oh,
which
okay.
I have not have been here for so long. Oh, hello, cat. Yes, that's my foot. My cat is eating my foot.
That happens.
We all have what faces us in life, and sometimes it's on the street, and other times it's in the bushes, and other times it's weeds. I love to whack them off. Their flowers, their stems, their leaves. I love seeing them fly through the air. Bright yellow golden tansy, whack it off. Imperial purple Russian knapweed, whack it off. Delicate white virginal Queen Anne's lace, whack it off. Whack them all off. Me and my trusty 2.5 horsepower Husqvarna weed whacker. We rock, we whack. Ah, the joy, the pleasure of whacking your foes. With my whacker, I whack their toes, and to feel confident of my steed, yes, Husqvarna, yes. Smooth start, steady purr, the handle vibrating eagerly in my hands. It talks to me, gives me advice, it gives me feedback. Keep to the left. Don't overrun the edges. Don't shove. Push gently. Left. Tilt. Stop shoving me. I'm gonna all dust in your face. Oh, Husqvarna, you know that's Swedish. That's Swedish for a windmill. I lived in Sweden for a few years, and I took my hang glider. That's where we stored our hang gliders, with the Swedish Hang Gliding Club in an old windmill on a farm. It was glorious. But we rented this field from the farmer, and we put up a pulley at one end of the field and tied it to the car. And then the pilot would stand at the other end of the field. And when you yelled, drive, drive, drive 3 times, the car would start off and tauten the rope and jerk you into the sky, zooming into the sky. Ah, just like the top of weeds. Here's to weed whackers, whack it off. There, I'm now satisfied.
2.5 horsepower.
Oh my. Well,
Woo-hoo! We ate those weeds.
wow. A Bill Lewis caged in Cambridge was crazy enough, and now that he's free range, he's just that much more wild. We apparently the room to run has not curbed him at all. Thank you very much, Bill Lewis. Thanks to you and your chickens. Hope we see you someday in Cambridge again. Up and now for something completely different than Bill Lewis, and that's how I'm going to at least introduce the next 5 poets. We have a regular in several online venues feature, and a person with I think another new collection coming out. He had one collection from Nix's Mate, and always excited to see his new work. Let's welcome up Mr. David Miller.
Oh, thanks, Chad. Yeah, middle of September. I'm more than happy to say my next book will be out from Lily Poetry Review Books, but this is not a poem from that book. It's actually a little bit about travel in its own way, so off we go. 21. My parents left their parents, put Vermont in the rear view, Indiana in the headlights. Mother's folks had some Iowan blood, knew the heat of mid-century mid-America. For Dad's people, the young marrieds with infant were motoring over the edge of the known world. The brave fragility those post-college kids packed in the car alongside me, what do I know of it? Catches in family throats, tears or their gruff denial, arms stretched to embrace or held back to handshake, men's level-headed hugs. These must have happened. With 21 years, I left my parents on the other side. I put Massachusetts fading behind the taillights, Pittsburgh in the high beams, when, after dark, my first wife and I pulled up to the street of our new grown-up state. My father's age was the same as mine when we put our parents receding in the east. At 21, this is what the child does, I thought, straight arrowed into a master's degree that collapsed into a dishwashing job's stupefied mind. And now I shock myself, remembering 2 vehicles caravanned to Pittsburgh. One of our fathers hauled a trailer. But whose father was he? Oblivious over time, I don't remember. That means I don't remember which parents embraced each other as their oldest child signaled goodbye, and which mother wiped salt water from her face on her own. Thank you.
Wow.
That made me actually reminisce about moving day for the first time in a long time. Bless you, David. Let's move on to, let's see what we got here. There we go. And up next, and now someone also completely different from Bill Lewis. This poet comes from a lineage of a Stone Soup lineage. She's related to Carol Weston, and after, I guess, months, years, perhaps of cajoling, she's finally joined us on the open mic, and we're very happy to have her. Let's welcome up Pamela Ballard. Looks like you haven't unmuted yet. There you go.
I was saying, are 2 short poems okay?
Yes.
Okay. First one is called COVID Lament Bleeding Us Dry. April tax day became July. Pressure off for a second, they all sigh. Town demands 1,000 and then another. Put down half now, half a little later. No, pay it all, pay it now. Pay it now, pay it all. Debt forgiveness, not from town hall. Happy to have a better car, so as to drive so far. Pay up in excise tax. First one car, then the other. What of son's car in our names? Pay his insurance, pay his tax. Someday will we get it back? In-town water, heavy metals, discarded drugs, Dartmouth water, drugs that you would never touch. Pay your taxes, then shell out more for a system to filter water unfit to drink. The fridge is leaking, then the sink. Next, the washer's on the blink. Maybe later, if paychecks resume, there'll be clean clothes in the room. My MasterCard folks say, don't worry, don't you pay. Fed's disaster relief will save the day. But 2 months later, then they say, give us the 2 months you will pay plus interest right away, or a higher bill is on its way. Go online, avoid the market. BJ's and Stop and Shop each have an offer. Want delivery? You will pay. $1 a small pepper, $2 a pear. How did the prices get up there? Up goes the price of streaming and all kinds of food. Netflix movies get more violent to fit the mood. The pharmacy said, sorry, you need a med. that is not cover ed. Pay $150 or pick a different med out. I can't, that's the one I need, I desperately shout. So I borrow more indeed. Around us tragedy, many are sick or die. Meanwhile, others bleed us dry. What to do? If you have answers, I want to know them. Yes, go to the garden and read a poem. So that's my COVID lament. The next one, we have to laugh or it would be too tragic, right? The dream of the eagle. We lay where we fell into a deep sleep. I awoke still wanting you, your mouth still on my breast, white as the moon. I didn't move, breathe slowly under your weight. Close my eyes to the violet dawn, wishing myself back. Back to a moonrise on a lake. Our skin shone pure on the luminous sand. Protected by the night, we kissed until we dreamt. We kissed as the moon rose and fell over the sacred lake. We kissed until we melted and became one with the moon and the stars. Converted to liquid, absorbed by the alabaster sand. We kissed until we dreamt. We kissed until we dreamt I was an eagle in the pale sky of morning. And you, my partner, as we flew over worlds that could never be ours.
Thank you very much, Pamela. We're going to bring it now to one of our past Stone Soup features, at least as far as online. He's been an online friend since 2020, and it's great to have him on. Let's welcome up Mr. John Wesick.
Hi, Chad. Thank you.
Hello.
I was staring at my unpaid bills over a cup of rot gut mead when a rock crashed through my window. It was gray, probably limestone, but definitely not basalt or granite, and it had a spiral fossil of a trilobite on the back. I looked outside to see who the culprit could be, but saw only a motley group of pterodactyls and stegosaurus carrying picket signs. A big guy burst through the door. He carried a snub-nosed lightning bolt, had a complexion of burnished bronze, and wore the kind of toga you could only get at one of those boutique shops at Mount Olympus. My office was full of gloom and the smell of ozone, as if the intruder lugged a personal thundercloud with him. I could tell right away that I didn't like him, but shooting him was out of the question. My pet scarab Yorgos and my last amphora of mead were in the line of fire. You Gaia, he said, who's asking? Even though my bank account hadn't seen a spare drachma since that asteroid had ruined the dinosaurs' day, I hated getting pushed around. I'm a rebel who despises authority, a stone-cold son of a bitch who can love nothing and no one but justice. You can call me Allfather, Lord of Thunder, bearer of the Aegis, and keeper of oaths. Well, Mr. Allfather, I don't like people pointing lightning bolts at me, so either put your piece away or scram. His expression could have soured all the milk from Endymion's flock. He stowed the lightning bolt in his shoulder holster. I thought you were a dame, he said. This was shaping up to be a bad day. First he threatened me with a gun, and now he was subjecting me to transphobia. Gender is a social construct, I reply, but you aren't here to discuss my genitals, real or imagined. Spill it. Someone's trying to kill me. The Allfather collapsed into a chair. All the false bravado drained from his face, leaving only the look of a boy scared of the basilisk under the bed. What makes you say that? My sisters and brothers disappeared one by one. When I asked my father for help, he just belched. Was he telling the truth? It didn't much matter. He had the look of someone important, and all I had to do to solve the case was play my cards right, and then I could make a killing. My rates are 200 drachmas a day, I said, plus expenses.
Very nice. Thank you very much, John. Up next, someone also completely different from Bill Lewis, but not on the video call per se. They're joining us by phone. We have had the pleasure of having some telephone participants on a regular basis, and the first of them, who I'm asking to unmute by pressing *6, because I can't unmute by myself. She's been a participant for almost since the start of the online sessions. And it's great to have her. Let's welcome up Nancy Dodson.
Temperament. O clouds that break when thunder collapses. O rain which dissolves its wetness. Lightning strikes in the knife-like burning. Sun comes, do not let the clouds leak through. Stars glow, creating air and wind. Sunny days heat unbearably. When you play.
Thank you, Nancy.
Great job, Nancy. Thank you so much. And up next, I might be a little presumptuous in saying she's going to read, but she has joined us before. She is a poet who used to be at the Cambridge, all around the Cambridge scene years ago. She moved away, and a decade later came back to us via the magic of Zoom. And I'm sincerely hoping that Colleen Houlihan would be willing to read for us. So hopeful. Hi, Colleen.
Sure. Yeah. Hi, can you hear me?
Absolutely.
Okay, great. Let me find my phone.
Oh, no video?
Still having a problem. Don't ask.
No problem.
It's called Fools. What fools so many men are, with their modern 90-degree angles and cold couches of burnished flesh. They poo-poo at woman's deft probing, how some women clairvoyantly sense the outline of a man's pleas. Is not it fair that you would love what I love? An exiled woman might mutter at the taunt back of her lover. So maybe you are not as mysterious as you claimed, or perhaps her hand simply fits, or maybe she has gone through your secret papers and correctly interpreted the meaning. Perhaps too she is a witch or a bitch, or the incantation of your mother, the girl from your past, the dreaded one in your future. But I recommend, if you are to banish her, do it in the winter or after a heavy rain, so you will be able to find her tracks. Thanks.
Is that a new one, Colleen?
It is, yes.
So glad you're writing regularly again, or irregularly.
Thank you, Chad.
Welcome back, as always.
Thank you.
And who do we have next? I should make this known for those. I'm sure everyone who is hooked up via Stone Soup or in the Somerville Ibbotson scene knows, but earlier this week, Doug Holder, the founder of Ibbotson Street, the co-founder of the Bagel Bards, lost his wife, the poet Diane Robital. I only mention that now because I have linked on my Facebook and elsewhere a GoFundMe in which people are donating to Doug Holder to help him get through this time. I can remember every time a loved one's been lost, no one's finances is ever fully prepared, and I'm sure they've already met the expectations by over 1,000, I believe. But I know that every little bit will help, and I'm sure Doug is eternally grateful. He was dropping off Ibbotson Street copies to Gloria bookstore just to keep himself busy, and I can relate. So any well wishes you can send over to Doug Holder. I'm sure he will appreciate them. Up next on the open mic as we get closer to the end, unless anyone people like Karen Freeland, Renuka, if they're willing to, or Laura, if you're willing to read on the open mic, let us know. We're making really good time. Let's welcome up someone who was with us in several areas of Stone Soup when we were in Cambridge, when we were in Boston, across from the church and across from Park Street in the church. Oh, and he's actually joining us by video for the first time ever. Let's welcome up Mr. Chris Fitzgerald. There you are, sir.
I've been working on something brand new.
Cool.
And these two, this thing I'm doing here, it's 2 pages of introduction, and the last page of the piece that introduces. There's 5 pages that I'm only going to read the last page, but I think it stays coherent.
Okay.
It's outrageous, but I like it anyways. This is a letter of introduction for the 5-page literary work that follows. The whole world is a stage. My ass, Shakespeare. It's about the American experiment and the pathetic attempt by 3 clowns to sabotage the American experiment. Not one of them had anything to bring to the table. Shabby, shallow, and shitty, all 3 were proponents of the big lie, the original one. Now, this is the last piece of. We must remember, neither Abraham Lincoln nor Ho Chi Minh ever stooped to kiss a royal ass. That was Churchill's bread and butter, the Queen's empire, his reason for being. That was his Shakespearean role. When the 2-bit Scumbagian Shakespearean actor, John Wilkes Booth, shot and killed my favorite president, he shouted out, "Sic semper tyrannis," thus always the tyrants. Who was the tyrant, Lincoln? No, it was your father, Junius Brutus Booth, who also was a Scumbagian Shakespearean actor. Your father bought 8 black slaves in the 1820s. Ground zero for tyranny is always slavery. Ground zero for tyranny is always slavery. Ground zero for tyranny is always slavery. It was the Booth family that was smothered in slavery, not the Lincolns. Every day of John Wilkes Booth's childhood was smothered in the tyranny of slavery. Alas, it's beneath the Shakespearean actor, even the Scumbagian ones, to admit to be an piss poor excuse for human beings. But there you have it, friends, Romans, countrymen. Now this is the other part of the letter. The original lie that Shakespearean posture has a vital role to play in American language usage. Service to the crown. You are listening to someone who doesn't consider Martin Luther King Jr. to be a great Black American. No, he's a great American. Service to the truth. I don't care what his color was. I would take one Martin Luther King Jr. over 3, maybe 4 quadrillion Scumbagian Shakespearean actors. Romeo, Romeo, where art thou? Well, get Juliet. I'll tell you where my ass is, and you can both kiss it. Thank you. Did you hear that?
Hi.
I hope he doesn't want me to stop reciting Shakespeare.
Like that would happen anyway. Like that would happen. I guess every legendary author needs a reply. But thank you so much, Chris. And let's move on to the next person on the open mic. The last of our correspondents by phone, and the second to last person on the open mic. This poet has been with us also since near the start of the online era. She was with us. She's been with us for many decades at Stone Soup in general, and she's going to be featuring this Friday, one of the co-features, one of the 105 features, this starting tomorrow, but continuing on until Saturday. She's one of the readers for the Boston Poetry Marathon, and that is 150. Someone just said 150. Oh my God, it's gone up since then. She's somewhere in the 100. She's somewhere in the top 50, and it's well deserved. She is the. She's going to be performing, I think around 8 o'clock on Friday, and I'm going to be helping to facilitate that. Then you can hear me read on Saturday, if I'm actually able to even get an internet connection from where I'm traveling to. But the long and short of it is, it's a great pleasure to welcome up Carol Weston. We can hear you now,
Oh,
Carol. Go.
Thank you. The first poem is A Hot Skillet. When I am afraid, I dance like a small ball of fat on a hot skillet. Afraid of the throngs of cognoscenti, burning with isolation, I stood eating potato chips among the throngs of cognoscenti. 3. A hair. A hair is a fine string that brings us invisible music. And 4. Blue speck. I am that 1 millimeter blue speck that floats on tide pools. And I look up under the great rose light that spreads across the sky. Thank you.
Hey, Carol.
Carol, I don't know what we'd do without you. So glad we can keep on hearing your poetry throughout this whole shitstorm of 12 to 15 to 24 months ongoing. Thank you, Carol. Stay well.
Good.
I have made it known that if Stone Soup does get together for some kind of gathering in September, I really want Carol to be the one to be performing, at least one of two people to be performing. The second one is a person who's going to be closing off our open mic. For anyone who is looking for work to publish their work in the next few months, I can recommend Oddball Magazine. We're definitely looking for timely and pandemic themed pieces, but poetry of all kinds are welcome. And that's oddballmagazine.com. We're also putting out a zine and holding a chapbook contest. So more on that as it comes. We have an array of poet columnists. The one who's reading next and final for the open mic has a weekly column out called It's All One Thing, and that's viewable at every Thursday morning at 11 o'clock in the morning at oddballmagazine.com. And it's almost like not just poetry, but it's encapsulated history of Stone Soup, Boston, politics, the world. It is, as the column says, all one thing. And we're glad to have him be the signature closer for our Stone Soup open mic. Let's welcome up James Van Looy.
Thanks, Chad. So I have a piece here called The Voice of the Body. I finally got the full range of voice back after a year and a half of COVID-caused struggle for use of my lungs, heart, and clogged vocal cords, whose upper range especially often would fail, so I would hear the right tone, but would not be able to make it. And then sometimes I felt so bad, so low as voice can go, not sore, but I would ever again be able to use my body as I once did. And really only a medical intervention brought the relief, almost a resurrection. I could breathe again. And then slowly my skin where my ears cling to my head just stopped breaking down. And then first my lower voice tones came back. And now today, for the first time again, my upper range is back and both are better than ever. And I'm still alive, even as the whole system I grew up with and in is devastated. And I got an old song here for you. I did want to say to John Wessex that he always has that picture of the wombat there. And of course, you know, there actually was a wombat character in the original Stone Soup was close to Jack. And then we always called him the wombat. So there you go, John. Mm. Mm. I took a walk and past your house late last night. All the shades were pulled and drawn away down tight. From within the dim light cast a silhouette on the shades. Oh, what a lovely couple they made. Put his arms around your waist, held you tight, kisses I could almost taste in the night. Wondered why I'm not the guy whose silhouette's on the shades. No, I was the guy with tears in my eyes. Ran up to the door and knocked. Sure was for open up before I break down this door. Met two strangers who had been two silhouettes on the shades. Said to my shock, you're on the wrong block. Ran down to your house with wings on my feet. A delight I'll never know. You, my sweet, now that we will always be two silhouettes on the shades. Silhouettes on the shades, silhouettes, 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 silhouettes on the shades all of our days. Thanks, folks.
Thank you very much, James. That was fantastic. And I'm so glad we had such a nice open mic tonight. But even better, I'm glad we were able to get to the feature tonight, who's been waiting very patiently. I'm very attentive, and I hope you're just as attentive for her, as I'm sure all of you will be. And for those of you who just came to listen, thank you very much. Every poet loves a good entourage. Every poetry host loves a good filled room, virtual or otherwise. So, and if you came in late, no need to comment on the awesomeness of the Outer Limits style screen of Gloria Mindock. If it is a little hazy, I think it looks cool. But I'm just glad she's here with us tonight. And I'm glad we get to hear her voice. And now I get to read the obligatory boilerplate. But I'm sure most of you know who Gloria is. She's made her presence known for decades now, and is quite an impressive force in local poetry, where everyone is glad to have her around. For those of you who've never met her before, well, let me tell you a couple of things. Gloria Mindock is the author of Ash from Glassfire Press, which was released this year. Her other collections include I Wish Francisco Franco Would Love Me from Nix's Made Books, Whiteness of Bone also from Glassfire Press, and Le Poetier Retuli, which I'm sure I totally mauled, which is translated to Romania by Flavia Cosma of Ars Longa Press in Romania. She's also the author of Nothing Divine Here by Usoku Stampa Press, and Blood-Soaked Dresses from Ibbotson Street Press. Widely published in the USA and abroad, as if the name titles of the books don't tell you that, her poetry has also been translated and published into 11 languages. Gloria is the editor and founder of Cervena Barbara Press, and she also served as the Poet Laureate in Somerville in 2017 and 2018. Her book Ash, which is available still, was awarded I believe all her books are, was awarded the Speak Up Talk Radio Firebird Award in July of this year. Ash was also translated into Serbian and will be out shortly by Alma Press in Belgrade. So all this is to say is Gloria does not take any situation sitting down. She is always writing, always publishing, whether it's her works or others. She's always getting the work out there, and it's something that's wonderful to behold, and so even better to hear. So, ladies and gentlemen, there's nothing wrong with your set or her set. Put your hands together 20 to 40 times for Gloria.
Thank you. If the screen does get distracting, let me know and I can always take my picture off. So this is Ash, and
Yes.
I'm very excited about the book, and that's what I'll be reading from tonight. And it's about bad relationships. So I'm sure we all have had them or know someone who's had them. And my past clients, people on the street and cafes, bars, traveling on a plane, when I'm on a subway train or wherever, people always tell me their problems. And so I decided to put it to use and write about all these bad relationships, but it needed a twist. So I took fire and ashes, burning, destruction, all that, and put it in all the poems. So the first one I'll read is called The Crosses. And when I was a little girl, my great aunt gave me a picture of a saint in this really pretty jeweled frame. And she said, never put it in a drawer. So I haven't, I still have it, and it's on my Day of the Dead altar. So The Crosses. We have broken crosses in our drawer. Why are they still here? It is a sin to throw out the symbol of Christ. We could fall from grace. The sacraments received on Sunday would be for nothing. So here they are, buried by papers, screws, ink pens, pennies, a few rubber bands. How sad, Christ defending himself from junk. Where is his heart? Take the crosses out. Let him breathe. Put the pieces in every room out in the open, each one giving testimony to your life. What if God is strict? I am looking for the right flesh with no bleeding, my voice free, hanging from the crucifix, passion from these lips igniting sins to clot my mouth. Crucifixes break every day, are shoved into a drawer, collect dust in a thrift shop. Sometimes Jesus becomes so dusty that cleaning him is a problem. The dust too thick to let him resurrect. When he does, he sneezes. Maybe Jesus will develop an allergy, a miracle of life. Being from Illinois, I had to write one about flat land, which I miss a lot. And this is called Escape. Trying to escape, but I am surrounded by flat land, no place to go. If I stand behind the tree, you will find me. Behind the barn, you will find me. Behind the house, you will find me. You would not expect me to hide down by the Illinois River or in the caves of Starved Rock. I will be there until my body decays. I will become a beautiful plant. When you walk past, I will give you a rash. One thing I'm not is a cook. I hate to cook. So thankfully, Bill loves to cook. But I was thinking about destruction, and if I could bake a man, this would be it. So this is called Baked. With a rolling pin in a hand, I roll your heart out flat, stop it from beating. The redness of blood turns to wax, sticky while wet. I mix it with flour for consistency. Mind you, you never had this. Skin is added for extra flavor. After cutting up a few veins, My creation is ready to bake. Once out of the oven, all crisp, all beautiful, the door is opened and I throw it out for the birds. Peck away, my friends. Eventually, all men get flown. Carrots. There is blood on my hands from the knife. It was an accident, I said, as I sliced the carrots into tiny roundness. You lost your appetite. Blood will do this. I took the carrots to the sink, seeing water mix with redness. I pictured a long coffin with water inside, soaking a body. The sink was drained, carrots thrown out, orange circles in the garbage. You banged your hands on the table. It was legitimate. Protected. Inside the house was his life, protected by a roof. By the time the firemen got there, it was gone. He sifts through what remains, eyes sunk, hands asleep, brain idle for hours. The man surfaces his heart. He carries it away delicately. It still beats, and he breathes, asking, how much sorrow can this heart take? There is never an answer. Messes. How many messes do I have to clean up for what comes out of your mouth? After the fire died out, the ashes were swept. No house, no clothes, no furniture, no books, nothing left. No sign of us living there. Life is funny sometimes. It takes fire after fire until the water comes. It was cool, soothing, beautiful, and glowing. Unfortunately, now there is only the dimness of the sunset happening too many times. This next poem, Ashes, was published in French and Spanish, and it just came out in Argentina. Ashes. Bury me into your heart. Don't forget. Even when you distribute my ashes, embers of arms will flow out into the wind. What will I attach to? The rain will push my ashes to the ground, mixing them with mud. Stepped on, maybe someone will bring me home on their shoe, wipe the mud off with a rag, throw it away, then off to the dumps. This is all I am, garbage, to be buried again into non-existence. There is a chance I will be recycled. Later, I could be part of that doll your child embraces. This next one was really a lot of fun to write. The first 3 stanzas are true. The last stanza is made up. And I had a client who couldn't stay away from women. He was constantly going out with them. And I said, you need to stay sober, take care of yourself, blah, blah, blah. He wouldn't listen, but he would come back with the best date stories and we all would be in hysterics. And so this is in honor of him. He is dead. And so were the 2 other people with me that he told this to. They also are dead due to drug abuse. Plastic. X was only 2 months sober and was telling everyone he had a date. Despite being told to concentrate on his sobriety and not women, he would not listen. The next day, he said they went out for dinner. Afterwards, she invited him to her place for coffee. When they walked into her apartment, there were dolls sitting at the kitchen table, on the couch, in the bedroom, and even on the toilet. Doll eyes watching him, creepy. He left. We all teased him and said he should have kissed a doll. There would be no heart beating. All he would have to do is keep his lips closed. There would be no feelings. 2. X was sitting in the car with his date, about ready to go to dinner, when she said, "Wait, I have to wrap my head up in tinfoil. It is important for me to communicate with the aliens." X looked at her in disbelief. He took the tinfoil box from her and wrapped his head up with it, waiting for a miracle. 3. It has been a while since X went out on a date. He sat in the car with her as she smacked her gums and then stuck the chewing gum on the dashboard. Then she dug out her lipstick from her purse. X was still focusing on her gum on the dashboard. He looked around her car more closely and saw gum stuck all over the place. He felt a knot in his stomach and was disgusted, got out of the car without saying a word. About a block later, as he was thinking, he reached in his pocket and unwrapped a piece of gum and chewed. 4. The sirens were going off. X knew it was time to get out. His heart was beating quickly. X was scared he would not make it. Heavy black smoke was filling the apartment up. He jumped and realized it was just a dream. Next to him was a woman, young and very pretty. His heart smoldered. He thought, what did I do to deserve such a thing? Just then, a fireman knocked down the door and revived him. There was no girl, just a fire hose through the broken window. Sometimes, X, a flame is just a flame. Okay, Crow. Every summer, days last longer, making more killing easier. The crows cry. Black feathers, angry, their sound havoc as bullets scream past. Sick of this, I long for snow, burying the dead in ice a little longer, avoiding stench. There are weeping marches by the people that tumble the bodies over, frozen, transforming hospitals into vineyards to greet grief in a bottle. The birds stroll quickly, grabbing a worm before disappearing. Weapons show in the faces, eyes dark with murder, turn away. Gather yourself, bullets are flying on this hot day, forcing skin to connect, tricking the body into ashes. Doesn't matter what country you are in, run from the dead who sleep to live. And I love serial killer shows, murder shows, forensic shows, you name it. I just think it's so fascinating. And so the last section of the book kind of plays off of that in a fun way. And the first stanza is the woman, the first stanza is the man, and the second stanza is the woman. And it's by initials only, J/M. Jay loved fake names. He was a burnt out novelist, wrote too many stories about horrific blind dates. He was a wild man, too many plastic bags in his kitchen. He would kill you, burn you, pretending it was love. M, an elementary teacher, went out with Jay. She thought he was popular, would bring her wealth. M was wrong. Her fate lay at the water's edge, an alligator. And the last one I'll read is called R/N. R liked tea in the afternoon before he went fishing. Sometimes the crisp air mortified him. He would sit and build a fire. One by one, he took the worms and burnt them. He was grateful for such beauty. and thought she could allure him to stay home in fishnet stockings. It never worked. She fell into this routine daily. The police later found her dead, not much left on top of a wood pile with fishnet stockings on the ground. I guess R was paying attention. Thank you.
Keep those hands coming for Gloria.
Thank you, Gloria.
That was fantastic. I'm almost demanding an encore.
Thank you.
Wonderful reading.
That was wonderful. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
We're not. We do have links now via the chat to not only Savannah Barbara Press, which has been going on all these years, but also the brand new collection from Glassfire Press, Ash, which you've just heard a sampling of. And of course, sometimes the best way to celebrate the poet can be to buy the book, but sometimes they also want cash. So, so Gloria, if you do have a PayPal link and you want to share it, you don't have to give it now, but if you want to send it to me later, we can encourage people to make donations if they can't buy a whole book. The book, however, from Glassfire Press is available for only $16, which is a nice buy. And that's if you go directly to the website. I don't know if it's available from Amazon, but I don't know if we want to keep on seeing Bezos' general net worth as being only, just slightly under God go down. So maybe it's good to support the small press and order for straight from them if you can. If you can, I do understand. So basically, support the poet any way you can. Definitely let us know, Gloria. And thank you so much for a wonderful reading. What else do you have in store coming up? You must have other books lined up.
I'm currently working on 5 manuscripts. One on the Cuban Missile Crisis and another one on my teeny bopper years called Screaming for Paul, and then some other manuscripts in that, but those 2 are the ones that are in my brain right now.
Wow. Well, from all of us, I gotta say we can't wait to read this. Now, I'll definitely be grabbing Ash and hoping to grab it. I can't do it before my trip, but I will definitely make sure to buy it too, so I can have it after the trip. And we'll look forward. That'll be a great summer read for everybody. Thank you so much, Gloria. This is fantastic. Do you have an encore in you?
Oh, sure. I'll do one. I would
just
love
one
to.
more. I try not to demand, especially since we do read some people do read a little longer. Some people for a while, people have been asking me, how much do I read? I don't know. And I go, 25 minutes is generally, if you got 20 minutes, you're a good start. And then some people have read for like 40 minutes and they're just like, I'm having such a good time. So, but this is a very concise reading. So I feel the need to ask for just one encore.
Okay, I'll do that. I'll read Albert. Albert was crazy. History for the global world, a hermit wearing loafers, a bottle of wine in a brown paper bag. He yearned for it. Sometimes vodka, whiskey, rum, it all got his adrenaline going. Mild-tempered, Albert rambled about world produce. His language compartmentalized into words, drink, eat, death, monster. He laughed, quenched his thirsty throat, swigging unfairness into his gut. In his own world, it has to feel good to own the dark alleyways. Sit down, he says. We face tight hands around the bottle and drink until narrowly slipping into someplace else. Thanks. And thank you,
Gloria.
Chad. Yeah, thank you. And for keeping the series going. I know Jack Powers is looking down on all of us and very happy it's going strong. So thank you for carrying on his series.
Well, thank you. As a published poet published by you, thanks for keeping all your projects going all these years. It's not easy to both live in Somerville and to keep an empire going. So check out the the Arts at the Armory. If you're ever in Somerville, Massachusetts, check out the Savannah Bonner Press bookstore and get on their mailing list. You can find out when the Lost Bookshelf is open, though the Lost Bookshelf, I believe, is still available online. So you can get all their, you can order any of their works online, and you can get up-to-date news on Savannah Barbara Press every month. Definitely support this woman's work. It's a cumulative work of like many people, and she makes that known. And it's always been a pleasure to work with her, and it's been a great pleasure to listen. So there is nothing wrong with your computer screen or hers. You just heard great poetry. What's your problem? This is fantastic, and thank you once again. And I urge you to come back next week. I'll be recording the series and filming from Parts Unknown next week as we welcome up John Stickney, who is a poet who's been in transit, and he's also a new online friend. If you haven't heard him, if you've probably seen his work on Oddball Magazine and a host of other places. I believe his work is coming up in the next issue of Pocket Lint. If you haven't heard his work at length before, now's the time to do it. And hopefully more announcements will be happening to close out the summer of online Stone Soup and to figure out how we're going to transition into the new world, if we're going to transition at all. More on that later. For now, for those who are on video, it's time for the big wave. So goodbye, everyone. Goodbye, Gloria. Goodbye to you. Goodbye to everyone who has listened tonight. And we will also, hopefully we'll see some of you newcomers next week. We try and do this as often as possible. Will we be transitioning to into a lighter schedule in the future? Remains to be seen. Time will tell. But for now, you'll join the Stone Soup Facebook group. Check out the stonesoup.poetry.blogspot.com for more news, and we'll give it to you when we have it. But stay tuned for the end of August. It's going to be a lot of fun. The show's over. See you next time, and thank you again, Gloria.
Thanks, Gloria. Good stuff.
Hope to see you live soon.
Thank you, Gloria. It was
Thank you,
wonderful.
Gloria.
Thank you for
See
this.
you all live again.
Gloria.
Thank you, Gloria.
Thanks, everybody. Thanks, Gloria.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Take care of yourselves.
Take care,
everyone.
everybody. Stay safe.
Stay safe. Love everybody.
Bye.
Bye-bye.